Welcome to the Next Level Facebook Ads Podcast with Phil Graham. We help you master Facebook ads and give you an unfair advantage over your competition. Are you ready? Let's go.
What's up, podcast family? Welcome to the Next Level Facebook Ads Podcast, episode 376. Phil Graham here, and today I'm going to be talking about 4 crucially important Facebook and Instagram ad metrics that you guys should be tracking and measuring. Now, there are so many important metrics to track. I've covered lots of them in previous episodes. So it's definitely not limited to just the ones I'm going to cover today, to these 4. There's a lot more, but I would consider these 4 some of the more important ones by far. Now, a lot of these metrics are even on the other side of their ad, and some businesses might have challenges tracking some of them effectively, especially if you're not e-commerce. But you should still be tracking the best way possible. Obviously, if you need help with that, you can let us know and we can work through it with you because there's ways to go about it. Tracking these 4 things, amongst others, are super important. So today we're going to be talking about that. Before we jump in, if you guys are looking for any one-on-one coaching to learn ads the right way, or if you want somebody to run your ads for you, just go to my website for either one of those things, philgrahamdigital.com, or you can DM me on Instagram at philgrahamdigital, and we can connect on a Zoom call. So let's talk about what to track, and then really, I want to give you an example showing you the power of how to actually use this with your ads and in your marketing. The first thing I wanted to mention is that you really need data that is as clean as possible. But it's impossible to get perfect data. There's so many different systems talking to each other. There's iOS privacy and there's other things. So you're not always going to have perfect data, and that is okay. It's okay to have estimated data and just be on top of things. Think of it like if you weighed yourself on a bathroom scale every single day or every single week. Now, even if that scale was off by 5 pounds, as long as you're using the same scale every single time, you can compare and contrast your weight because you're using the same scale, even if it's off. You'll still know whether you're gaining weight or losing weight or whatever it is you're going for because you're using that same scale. So think of data like that. So let's dive into these 4 crucial metrics. Number 1, it's what is your cost to acquire a customer or client, whatever you call them, as well as what's your cost to acquire a lead. Sometimes this can be difficult depending on how that happens because sometimes some businesses that might happen through a phone call or from somebody coming in and purchasing something. So obviously those are going to be a little bit more challenging. For others where there's a form to fill out and you've got the right tracking, everything's working together, it can be a little bit easier, but you should still be tracking what does it cost to acquire a lead? What does it cost to acquire a customer? Because that's a really important number to know. You know how many customers you get and divide that by the amount of money you spend, period, on all of your marketing. And there's one number. And then depending on your situation and your data, you can try and drill down to specific, if you're, measuring different ad platforms and stuff, you can try and drill down to that as well. And again, there's lots of technical things with this. Really try and find out, even if it's an estimate, how much it costs to acquire a customer and a client or lead. Number 2, the second one is super important, and you absolutely should know this, no problem at all. What is your average order value? This should be easy for you if you're only selling one thing because it's just going to be one number if you only have one price. But assuming you have more than one product or service, or you've got upsells, things like that, there's going to be an average order value. It's really important to know what that is and track it and try and improve it. Number 3, this one is the one that I think the fewest people know. I've even worked with lots of companies that have been on Shark Tank, and a lot of them didn't even know this, which is insane, but it is the lifetime value of a customer or client. Lifetime value, not just the value of a one-time sale, but a lifetime value. So if somebody buys something from you once, on average, do they ever buy again, or is that it? Knowing that lifetime value is important because that can help drive your marketing dollars and help you create a smarter strategy. So make sure you guys know what that number is. And then last but not least, number 4, it's conversion rate. What is the conversion rate? Now, this could be on a sales page, so conversion rate for somebody buying something, or even on a landing page where you are either booking calls or having a download where somebody could become a lead. Knowing that conversion rate can really help and make a big difference. So I would be tracking all 4 of these things because they are so important. Some of this tracking takes place based off of internal data. Even if you're having somebody else run your ads, it may be you who's tracking this, or depending on your budget for the person or agency running your ads and the access to your internal systems that you may or may not give them, they may be doing some of that as well. But either way, make sure that you're always personally tracking it regardless. And you really need a system that not only tracks them, but effectively and consistently tracks them, because it's not about every once in a while. It's about what happens consistently. So if you don't know, especially your average order value, your lifetime value of a customer, and your conversion rate, if you don't know those 3 things, I'm already worried about you. Those are red flags. The good news is those are easy things to fix. You can find those out pretty quickly with a little bit of research into your data, into your numbers. And then obviously do your best to find out an approximate cost to acquire leads and customers. Okay, so I want to give you an example of how powerful knowing these numbers can be and how you can take action on that to improve things. I've seen situations where just one thing improved, like a client increased their order value by 10% or 15%. If you multiply that, let's say you increase your order value by 15% and you multiply that by the number of orders you get throughout an entire year, what's that going to look like? And obviously it depends on your price point and stuff like that, but that could make a big difference. And then another big thing, a conversion rate. If you increase your conversion rate, let's say you took it from 1%, which would not be very good. So let's say it's 1 and it goes up to 2% and you doubled your conversion rate. Oh my gosh, you're doubling the amount of sales you get just by improving your conversion rate. And even 2% is low, but I talk to a lot of people with low conversion rates. There's no reason why you can't work on multiple things at once. So I've seen situations where somebody has improved their order value and their conversion rate while reducing the cost that it takes to get a customer. All 3 of those things were improved at the same time, not in 1 second. It took testing, but as they progressed, all 3 of those numbers improved, and that generated a substantial increase in sales and revenue. So the main thing is, even if you improve one of those things a little bit, it can make a good difference. If you improve some or all of those 4 important numbers, it could really do big things for your business. It might 2x, 3x, 4x your sales, depending on what your situation is. So number 1, make sure you guys know the numbers. And number 2, measure them effectively and consistently. And then number 3, do things to try and improve them. And I've done plenty of episodes on how to improve them. In a nutshell, if you want to improve how much it costs to get a customer or a client, that's typically running better ads, having better offers. It's a lot of the things that we talk about on this podcast. The average order value is more simple. You could either raise your prices, or you could bundle things in, or have a special offer that includes 2 or 3 things together. There's a lot of different ways to easily do that. If you want to improve the lifetime value of a client, try and get people to order things more than once, and or try and give them something additional to buy, a different or complementary product or service. Those types of things can make a difference. And then conversion rate. This is a big one. We've talked about this in previous episodes, but make sure that your site loads really fast and that you have a good offer and that the page is simple and focused and that there's not too many things to do. And just tracking your conversion rate and then testing different things and seeing if it got worse or better, and then adjusting based off of that data, like that can make a big difference. And then lastly, when it comes to these numbers, if you're not able to effectively always track them, maybe it's because you have offline purchases or things that happen over the phone, or you don't have systems in place that are appropriately or effectively tracking them, or maybe there's technical issues or iOS privacy stuff. Regardless of all those things, try your best to track what you can track and look at, when you're spending money on advertising, how is that overall affecting your sales? And that can also help you track what's working and what's not. And don't forget, if it's not working, there's something to change. It could be the ads, it could be on the other side of the ads, but that's where you really look at that data, do some testing, see what happens, rinse and repeat, and get really good at that data evaluation and strategy based off of that data. That'll put you ahead of a lot of advertisers. So you guys, make sure you guys are paying attention to these numbers consistently, effectively, and then you're testing to improve them. and see what that does for your business, because sometimes it can make a big difference, my friends. So episode 376 is in the books. Thank you guys so much for being here. If you want to get in touch, philgrahamdigital.com is the website, or you can DM me on Instagram at philgrahamdigital. I would love to connect with you, and I will talk to you guys on next week's episode. Peace out.
Thanks for listening to the Next Level Facebook Ads Podcast. Please remember to subscribe and share this with all your friends. For show notes, more tips, and to learn more about Phil, please visit philgrahamdigital.com/podcast.